Okay, so have you ever seen like those crazy trampoline routines?
Yeah.
Where they're like twisting and flipping?
Oh, yeah, those are insane.
Like they're defying gravity.
I have no idea how they even begin to learn that stuff.
Yeah. I'm always so blown away by like their skill and their precision. But have you ever wondered how they actually learn to do that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well today we're going to dive into the world of the Freestyle Trampoline Association,
Okay.
or FTA,
Gotcha.
to find out about their approach to skill development.
Cool.
And they've discovered this really surprising gap in how trampoline athletes are traditionally trained.
Interesting.
And they're bridging it with this thing called the Spatial Awareness Quotient, or SAQ.
Oh, wow. So they're like realizing that there's a way that they can train these athletes that is like above and beyond just the rote memorization
Right?
of the skills themselves.
Yeah.
So what is the spatial awareness quotient?
Yeah. It's kind of a cool approach.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for a long time, coaches and trainers really focused on getting athletes to perfectly execute certain skills,
Right.
like a double somersault with a half twist.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
But the FTA is taking it a step further. They're asking, how well do the athletes actually understand the mechanics of the skills?
Oh, wow. So not just doing it, but understanding like why they're doing it and how it all works together.
Yeah, like almost like the difference between learning to bake by following a recipe
Okay.
versus understanding like the chemistry
Right.
behind it.
Yeah.
You might be able to bake a decent cake by following the instructions,
For sure.
but you know if something goes wrong,
Yeah.
or if you want to get creative and come up with a new recipe,
Right.
you really need to understand those base level principles.
You got to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the SAQ comes in.
Okay. So how does that work?
So imagine you have all these pieces of paper,
Okay.
and each one represents a different component of a trampoline skill. So things like what? Your takeoff position,
Yeah.
the number of rotations, whether you're twisting or flipping,
Okay.
the orientation of your body during the skill,
Right.
even a grab like you would see in snowboarding or skateboarding.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, the landing.
So it's like breaking down all the pieces of a skill.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the coach uses these pieces of paper to randomly generate combinations.
Okay.
So basically, it's like this random skill generator.
Cool.
You pick a few pieces of paper and boom, you're faced with a brand new challenge.
That's really interesting. So are they writing these things down, or is this something that the athlete is like visualizing?
So the coach is the one who's kind of controlling these pieces of paper and coming up with the combinations.
Gotcha.
And then they will tell the athlete, okay, this is what you need to try to do.
Wow. Okay, cool.
And what's really interesting is that many athletes who are trained in the traditional way,
Okay.
they struggle with this. Yeah, they've been taught, you know, what to do, but not necessarily how to build these skills independently.
Interesting. So it's like they hit a wall when they're asked to think outside of those pre-programmed skills.
Yeah. And what kind of reactions have you seen from athletes when they first encounter this?
It's pretty funny. I mean, often you see this look of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What are you asking me to do?
Right.
There's a lot of hesitation,
Oh, yeah.
confusion.
They're just not used to this.
Yeah, they're so used to being told exactly what to do
Right.
that this open-ended approach, it just throws them off guard.
Totally.
But that's precisely the point.
Right.
It's to expose those limitations of just that rote memorization
Right.
and to highlight that importance of really understanding how skills are built.
And why each movement matters within the skill.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond just the what and delving into the why behind each movement. Like, what's the purpose of doing that?
And, you know, especially when you think about safety. I mean, on a trampoline, things can go wrong really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And if an athlete only knows how to execute, you know, these pre-programmed skills, they might not be equipped to handle unexpected situations.
Right. So it's like if you're learning to drive, it's not just about memorizing the steps.
Right.
It's about knowing what to do if like a tire blows out.
Right.
Or you encounter like black ice.
Right.
You have to be able to react and adapt.
So the SAQ is kind of giving these athletes that adaptable thinking
Yeah,
so they can react safely to unexpected situations.
exactly. And that's where breaking down those skills into the core components comes in.
So they're not just performing a trick, they're really learning how to become problem solvers on the trampoline.
Yes, exactly. It's all about being present and aware.
And so how does the Freestyle Trampoline Association actually teach this?
So to address this gap in traditional training, they actually developed this really cool program called the Freestyle Trampoline Program. And it's designed specifically to help athletes develop that spatial awareness and give them the tools to deconstruct and reconstruct skills.
So it's kind of giving them that foundation and building on it.
Exactly.
So how does the program work?
Well, one of the key things is they start by breaking down those complex skills into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Okay.
So athletes might begin by working on just one piece of the skill,
Right.
like perfecting their takeoff or their body position in the air.
Uh-huh.
And then they gradually layer those components together, building complexity as they go.
Okay.
They also use things like visualization techniques.
Oh, cool.
So they'll imagine themselves doing the skill, but from different angles.
Wow.
And they'll even use video analysis to pinpoint areas where they can improve.
So they're really building these skills block by block, almost like you're constructing a building.
That's a perfect analogy.
You need a strong foundation, and then you can add those more complex layers on top of it.
And the really beautiful thing about this approach is that it empowers these athletes to become more than just performers.
Right.
They become innovators.
Right.
They can analyze, they can adapt, and they can even create their own unique skills.
Wow. So they're not just learning what's already out there.
Yeah,
They're coming up with brand new things.
exactly.
And it makes you think about all the different ways this could be applied.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, could this be applied to dance or skateboarding, even like problem solving in everyday life?
Absolutely.
It's really about understanding the underlying structure, breaking it down into its parts, and then putting it back together in a way that makes sense.
Right. It's like a transferable skill.
Exactly.
You can apply it to anything.
It's not just about training these athletes.
Yeah,
It's about giving them skills that they can use in all aspects of their lives.
exactly. And I think that's what's so exciting about the FTA's work.
Yeah.
It's not just about, training better trampoline athletes. It's about fostering this deeper understanding of learning and skill development
Right.
that anybody in any field can benefit from.
So in our next deep dive, we're going to actually explore those training strategies in a little bit more detail.
Cool.
And we'll see how the FTA is helping these athletes move beyond just that two-dimensional training
Okay.
and become these innovators on the trampoline.
That'll be really interesting to see.
Awesome.
I can't wait.